on the Catalan secession crisis. I will introduce the speakers in a couple of minutes. Let me first say a few words about the format and the nature of this debate. When I discussed with a couple of colleagues in my department that we really ought to have a public debate in the EUI on this existential crisis in one of the EU member states, some people told me, you know, you're taking a risk here. There's obviously one risk, which is that we are debating an issue, an event as it unfolds. And this is to be meant very literally. While we will have this event, Carles Puigdemont is going to deliver a speech in the Catalan parliament. Pure coincidence, was not arranged like this. But in order to minimize the risk that we are discussing something that is already outdated as we debate it, we said we would try to bring in a kind of live transcript of the speech on a website. I think we settled for BBC, so that you can at least read on the screen what is being said. We don't expect the speech to start at 6 p.m. precisely, so we will only activate this when we actually see that the speech is going to begin. The second risk is, of course, to have a debate on an issue on which reasonable people have very passionate views and disagree with each other very strongly. So that's an issue that will and does already also divide academic communities. And of course, we don't want a division in the academic community of the EUI. Some people even told me, you know, nowadays in Spain and in Catalonia, words that you say have consequences. And I found this quite scary. And I thought about it, and I felt in the end, we have a duty to have this kind of debate. We would fail in our academic and public mission if we didn't discuss a crisis like this in the EUI. And I also think that if we can't have a reasonable and respectful debate at the EUI, where else could it be held? So with these words, I hope that the debate tonight will be reasonable, will be respectful, will be based on facts and on arguments, on an attempt to convince each other. This is the point of having an academic debate on a highly political issue in an environment like this. I have 3 brief announcements to make. First, and as you may have seen on a little sign that was put up at the doors, there will be a video recording of this event. Not a live stream, but a video recording, because we have received some outside requests by people who want to use this as teaching material in seminars. So by sitting here and staying here, you agree that there will be video recording, and I am obliged to tell you this under the EUI data protection policy. The second announcement I've already made is that we will have this live ticker in a way during Puigdemont's speech. And the third announcement is a next event, which may arouse fewer passions except mine, which is on the Austrian national elections, which are going to be held on next Sunday, on the 15th of October. And I've invited a colleague from Salzburg University, Professor Reinhard Heinisch, to introduce this event to the EUI community on the 23rd of October from 1 to 3 in the Teatro in the Badia. So please take a note if you're interested in joining that next event too. Now, without further ado, I'll introduce the people who are sitting here on the panel. First, there is Carlos Closa, who is now a professor at the School of Transnational Governance. That's the new school established by the EUI. Carlos has written and thought and discussed these issues for a long time, and he has also published a very timely book. This has just come out from Cambridge University Press. It's edited by Carlos, and it's called Secession from a Member State and Withdrawal from the European Union. So this is why I felt it was appropriate to ask Carlos in a way to be the keynote speaker, but he won't get more than 20 minutes maximum to introduce the issue to us. And then we'll have a roundtable of respondents who will focus on different aspects of this crisis. The first one will be Guillaume Vidal, who is an SBS doctoral researcher, I think in his 4th year, who will talk about the strategy of pro-independence authors. Then we have Roger Fernandez Urbano, who is also an SBS doctoral researcher in his 2nd year, who will talk about the reasons of the pro-independence movement, the social rupture in Catalonia, and the political and economic consequences of an independent Catalonia. Then there is Martin Portos, who is an alumnus of the SBS department and now a postdoctoral fellow at the Cosmos Center for Research on Social Movements at the Istituto di Scienze Umane e Sociali in Palazzo Strozzi. Marta Fraile Maldonado, who is a senior research fellow at the EUI, will focus on the electoral causes and consequences of this crisis. And finally, Günther Wilms, the legal advisor to the EUI president, has offered to a brief commentary on the legal situation, Article 155, and comparable constitutional arrangements in other countries. With this, I give the floor to Carlos.